Do you feel overwhelmed by the digital noise? Are you ready to find a fulfilling escape that nourishes your soul? I want to explore an idea with you, one that's often overlooked, and that's the benefits of hands-on creation. A journey that promises not only beautiful results, but a profound sense of self-expression, an intrinsic joy you never knew you were missing. I'm Marie-Nicole, and this is the A Life by Design podcast. Ever feel a pull towards making something, anything, with your own hands? That primal urge is what I'm tapping into in this episode. In a world where perfection often seems to be the end goal, open creation offers a refreshing alternative. This concept isn't about achieving flawless results, it's about finding joy in the process itself. Whether or not you're knitting a scarf or painting a landscape, the essence of open creation lies in the act of making and the pleasure it brings. Have you ever known someone who on a whim decided to bake bread for the first time? And the loaf was lopsided and slightly burnt, yet the satisfaction and the pride they felt was immense. The aroma of freshly baked bread that filled their home, and the experience was unexpectedly fulfilling. That's what I want to explore with you here. Going from the digital noise to the quiet satisfaction of the tangible. Let's explore why hands-on feels so good. In today's digital age, the therapeutic benefits of hands-on creation are more valuable than ever. Engaging in activities like sketching, crafting, or gardening offers a reprieve from the constant digital input. These activities promote stress reduction, mindfulness, and a sense of calm. Creative outlets like sketching, for example, a blank page and a pencil can be getaways to creativity, offering freedom to explore ideas without judgment. Simple crafts, from knitting to origami, crafting provides a tactical satisfaction and a tangible end product. Cooking, experimenting with ingredients can be a delightful blend of creativity and necessity. Gardening, cultivating plants connects us with nature and offers us a sense of accomplishment as we nurture life. Now, I'm not saying we should shun all things digital. One of the coaching services I provide is in the area of working with clients to enhance their digital presence to support them in growing their business. But I am also a passionate designer and maker and a soul purpose coach with a focus on embodiment. Practices that take us out of the virtual realm and into our physical hands-on experiences offers balance in our life. The satisfaction of using our own two hands to create something, or the physical experience of being in the presence of someone else who is creating and sharing the joy of their craft with you, cannot be replaced by a digital or virtual experience. For me, making is medicine, and when I feel overwhelmed by the complexities of life, I turn to creating something, anything with my hands. Living my life intentionally also means I allocate time in my schedule to create before I offer myself in service to others. That may look like blocking out a morning for creating content to share online, or creating something tangible for me to use in my everyday living experience. The idea of creating before serving others is not only so I show up feeling empowered and fulfilled, but also so I'm showing up for my clients from a place of an overflowing well of inspiration. You might be thinking, but I'm not an artist. The thing is, you don't need to be. The myth that artistic talent is a prerequisite for creation needs to be dissolved. The true maker magic comes from the act of creating, not from achieving mastery. It need not be that we only create when we find time or book ourselves into a workshop. We can choose to make space in our days to create intuitively as a form of self-exploration and expression. It does not have to be that we need to do it the right way. The joy can be in the exploration and discovery of doing it in your own way. In a recent video I created for my artisanal living playlist on YouTube called Your Craft, Your Voice, Sharing Authentic Work, I shared how when I first started to hand stamp letters into leather as a service to customize items for customers, it bothered me that I could not do it perfectly. And then I realized there was more magic in the letters appearing to be dancing on the item than being perfectly positioned. This way of stamping the letters aligned with my energetic imprint, which is not precise, but rather dynamic. Wild nature and its beauty demonstrates the magic is not in perfectly aligned and positioned components, but swirls and twists and turns. Giving ourselves permission to express our inner essence is so much more liberating than attempting to restrict our expression to rigid replication. From a child's finger painting to a retiree's pottery, each creation is unique and personal. These works, though imperfect, carry deep meaning and authenticity. Recently, I was interstate planning my father's funeral, and my youngest son needed to fly back home the day after the funeral for work. As I approached the security gate and started removing all the required items that I needed to place into the tray, the lady next to me said, "I really like your bag." In the past, I would simply say thank you and shy away from sharing that I made it. Being someone who makes things to sell, I often refrain from expressing this because I did not want to appear like I was promoting myself. However, in recent years, I have found it more valuable to share that I made it, as it often leads to conversations about creativity and the magic of making. So this time I said, "Thank you, I made it." Her response was, "Really? That's amazing." And then as I looked down at the tray with a sense of pride, I realized everything visible in that tray I had made myself. So then I shared actually everything in the tray that you can see I made myself. There was my leather phone pouch, AirPods pouch, and they were attached to a belt that I'd made. Plus, inside the bag, I had items that I had also made myself, or I knew the makers, who were the handcrafters of those items. And add to that, most of what I was wearing, clothing and accessories wise, were items I also made or knew the maker. Sharing this with her actually made her express a whole other level of wow. Even after 17 years of being a professional artisan, I still get the tingles when I look at all that beauty infused with magic, handcrafted with my own hands, or the hands of others that I know personally. But you don't need to be a professional maker or designer to enjoy the art of making. Before we went to the airport, we were in my father's home sorting through some of his belongings, ensuring that the grandkids got to choose some of the things that they wanted to keep for themselves. And I came across a little leather notebook cover that was not made by me, but he had made. When he used to come down and visit, he'd often hang out with me in my studio and either help me by sewing labels onto products or try his hand at something that was new to him. The hand stitching on this little notebook cover was not perfect, but it was functional and it was made by his own two hands. And I imagine it brought him joy to use that little cover. So what about you? Let's say you've started making things. What happens next? The magic extends beyond your personal joy. Open creation not only brings personal fulfillment, but it also fosters a sense of accomplishment and boosts self-esteem. By sharing your creations, whether with friends or family or a wider audience, you can inspire others to embark on their own maker journey. This shared creativity builds community and connection. I was recently witness to a conversation about designer bags. Now, I was not involved in the conversation, but was working nearby as the conversation took place. The discussion was about the latest design of a particular brand that was acquired and how they purchased it at a discounted rate. As I was listening to this, I was thinking about how branded items like these represent a perceived value, a value that is not easy to obtain by just anyone. You need to have a certain amount of disposable income to acquire such an item, and carrying that branded item then portrays to others that you have the capacity to spend that much money on such an item. My handcrafted bag is not a recognizable brand name, other than to those in my inner circle of influence or business community. It is not a widely recognized brand name, and yet it captures the attention of many. And I received numerous compliments from strangers about my bag and the handcrafted items that I wear or use. Customers who have purchased items that I have handcrafted have shared their own experience with receiving compliments on their bag, their little pouch, their duffel bag, their garment. People have complimented them having no idea how much they spent on that item. They are not complimented based on the perceived value or known value. I believe what captures the attention of others is the essence infused in those items, created with intention and passion. Yes, I have honed my craft and create with a certain level of professionalism, but I would not say that the items I create are without imperfections. If anything, they become more attractive as they are used and developed their own character. The bag I was complimented on at the airport is not one that was fresh off the press. I've been using that daily for years, and the story of its lifespan and the markings of that is also a part of its beauty. Now it's your turn. There's no excuse. This is just an invitation to create. Today, try one small act of open creation. And here are some simple ideas to get you started. Just doodle for 5 minutes. Get out a piece of paper and a pencil and just see what comes through. Go outside and build a tower with rocks and see if you can balance them, and just let your creative expression create that tower using some natural materials. Cook a meal using a new recipe, or take a recipe that you love and do something different with it. Just tweak it in a way that makes it your own. Plant a seed and watch it grow. Now, that's not something that's going to give you an immediate return on your investment of time, but fostering the growth of that seed will definitely be empowering for you. And don't forget the magic of buying handcrafted items created by those who spend their days honing their craft. Not necessarily to build a globally recognized brand, but for the joy of creating and refining a skill. In my Empower Dressing Guidebook, I have listed the names of designers and makers who have spent many years refining their handcrafting skills and have included links to their websites. You'll find a link in the description of this episode where you can purchase this ebook. And in that ebook, you'll also find inspiration and information on curating a wardrobe that supports you in moving through your days effortlessly. Infusing your days with handcrafted items really does add a special touch to everyday living. So be sure to share your experiences in the comments and subscribe for more inspiration. Let's build a community that celebrates the joy of making and the magic it brings into our lives. And I look forward to connecting with you again in the next episode.